I think it's good. I think these episodes should have been available to the 360 and PS3 from the very beginning. I'm actually against exclusive third parties doing exclusives because it's not fair if you think of it. Like people, they can't have a 360 and a PS3. They only have one. So if something comes to the 360 and the person has a PS3, they can't play it. It's really unfair. Exclusive should only be available for first party. So Nintendo can have the Mario, Microsoft can have the Halo. But when somebody like Rockstar puts something on the 360 and wants to keep it there, it's just not fair. I think it's good that it's come to PS3 and should have done so a long time ago.
Yeah, definitely. Spacey G, what do you think about this?
Oh, well, I have to agree with you guys. I think this third-party exclusive thing is entirely bullshit. It's really unfortunate that, people have to rely on these companies to, push out these games on a certain console and then just get screwed over in the ass, years down the road. Oh, this was exclusive. Now it's coming out for the console you could have had, but you didn't, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I bought Grand Theft Auto 4 for the PS3, and, I didn't care much for the DLC back then, but when it was announced, I was like, oh, wow, I'm missing out. I sold my PS3 version. I got the 360 version, got Lost in the Damned. Play a bit of it, didn't really care for it much. Sold the Grand Theft Auto 4 for the 360. I still have the Lost in the Damned in my hard drive right now, and I have no plans for getting the other ones. Honestly, I think I'm done with the Grand Theft Auto right now. But I'm surprised that they didn't announce this sooner, to be honest, because really you kind of expect it from these guys nowadays.
True. Yeah.
All right. One more thing I want to note: the Grand Theft Auto content will be available on disc and then for download for the PC and the PS3. So moving on. Hey, Spacey G. I heard you like them used games. Am I correct?
Oh, yes. Now, there's a little something I want to talk about. I want to get your opinions on the used game market, and I want to get your support. Well, not your support. I want to know if you support it or not. So, first I'm going to start off with Deefy. Deefy, tell me what you think about the used game market.
Oh, used game market. The used game market is a pretty big market, and it's one that a lot of the gamers rely on. Once again, it's all about money. A lot of gamers don't have the money to go out and buy all these new games that are like super expensive. So what they have to take their games and trade them away for credits at the shops. And they should be able to do that if they want to, because it is their games now since they paid for it. And it's really, again, unfair that some companies want to cancel this. I mean, what the hell? A lot of companies, they say, well, we're not making any money of it and you're damaging the industry. But that's so unfair. I mean, if these companies want to make money from used games, they just have to get the DLC. And then the person that buys a used game will pay for the DLC. And the company will get something. But, companies are just lazy and they just want to have total control over what we do. So, I definitely support the used game market. I use it myself as well. And it's something that we need.
Definitely. I agree with you, DC. All right, I'll go with Tails. Tails86. Tell me what's your opinion on these used games.
Really and truly, I still buy a lot of used games for like a lot of different systems. Like I still have my old PS2, and I use my Wii also for GameCube games and stuff. So I buy a lot of the used games for the GameCube a lot. Like I just recently bought the Wind Waker, and I love that game. It's an awesome game for a Zelda game. But really and truly, I think that even though games are used, they're still, they still have great value. If you've never played a game that used to come out back in the older systems, you can go ahead and still try it out for hardly nothing like they used to cost when they first came out. So, really and truly, I'm all for any kind of used games. It just depends on how good the person's taking care of it and everything. So that's the number one thing I worry about, if anything. But otherwise, if you see a used game that you really want to try out, go for it. Go for it. So.
All right, cool. I agree. Kevin Reviews, tell me your opinion on the used game market.
Well, I think used games are a really smart idea and a good idea for the consumer. Because let's just say if you buy a game that's brand new and you don't like it after like 2 days, the Force Unleashed, and you trade it in. You get a second chance. You don't get your full credit worths of like $50 or so, but you still get a really good amount, and then you could just get a new game. But there's two complaints I really have with used games, and one of them is sometimes the prices are a little bit too much. And when I'm talking about these prices, I'm talking about games that came out about 8 years ago or so. A few months ago, I recently bought Star Wars Jedi Academy for the Xbox. This game's been out since 2003, and I had to pay $30 for it. And there's games like Fable 2 that came out in 2008 that are now $17 used. So sometimes the prices are a little bit out of range for the consumer sometimes. Or even, for example, I recently was looking at GameStop, and they had Pokemon Leaf Green and Fire Red for $15 used, but the original price, as they said at the bottom, was $30. That's almost like $5 the difference in getting it completely new.
Yeah, I know. I kind of suffered from that because I bought the game recently for that price. Now that you released this whole deal, it's kind of upsetting,
I know.
Although
Yeah.
I thought I might pick up Fire Red just to have it. No, just kidding.
And, like, what if you actually had that game and you traded it in? How much would you actually get for that? Would you get 15 or would you get 5, And that's kind of like, a little bit iffy. And the second thing is sometimes not the game is in bad condition. Usually those are from the previous owners. And then sometimes the manuals are, not in there, or the discs are incredibly scratched. One time I got Lost Planet for the 360, and the disc was just horrible. There were scratches and smudges, and it was just really bad. And at least it played fine, but I mean, oh my gosh, I can't believe people treat their games like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool. All right. I agree with you too, Kevin. Very good points. Sergman. I know you got something to say, so say it.
Oh, I do. I'm for it and against it at the same time. What I'm against is, depending on which company, I could care less about Activision. But, some companies don't get, all companies don't get paid for used games bought. The companies, the GameStop selling them, they get the profit from selling used games. And I'll kind of put that on the same level as piracy, as, the developers don't get paid for their efforts.
Yeah, true.
And, exactly. I'm gonna rant a bit about GameStop, because they're guilty about this. When I go buy a new game from GameStop, they go to the shelf, take the box off the rack, bring it back, take a game out of this paper sleeve, put it into the box, put this sticker on it, and then just bam, they claim that it's new. And then when I take that game home and play it, say a DS game, for example, there may be some saved data on it, and what the hell? And I take it back to them, and they're like, sorry, I don't know how this happened. I smell BS on that, and it's just retarded. And yeah, that's my quick rant on GameStop.
Bullshit. That's horse shit.
Basically.
Mm. Yeah, wait a minute. Right. I'm going to share a little something with you guys. It's called game borrowing. It's something that I heard that company does, where they basically let the employees borrow some games. And yeah, that does happen, I heard. Yeah, so I heard. So yeah, it could have been that, it could have been that. I'm not too sure if it was, but yeah.
That was bullshit.
Okay, fine. I'm trying not to get myself fired here if they ever caught me. Shit, I'm giving you like information that's confidential here. Yes, they can borrow games. The employees can borrow a game, and if it's a DS game and they didn't erase the save data, then they basically screwed over. They screwed themselves over because that sucks. But I agree. There are the ups and downs of the game market being used and stuff. I mean, I really do love the used game market. Like, half of all the games that I do buy are used games because, honestly, unless I really like the game and I want to support the developers, chances are it's my money, and I'm not here to support anybody else but myself. So I know that sounds a little selfish, but in the long run, I have to look about, from my perspective, I have to save money, then I'll buy it used. So, too bad for like the game developers like Activision and stuff. I bought Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 used. But, like I'm saying, in the long run, I'm not here to support anybody but myself, and I'm just trying to, get my money's worth. So I'm going to buy it used, then I'm going to buy it used. And if it's a really rare game and stuff, like I found Klonoa 2, used. It was in mint condition. Somebody traded it in. It was $4.99. I was like, holy crap, I got to pick this up. So, it's really good when you find a really rare game that you've been looking for quite a while, or if there's a new game that you're not really ready to commit, with just yet, and somebody already has it traded in, you can, pick it up, buy it used. If you don't like it within 7 days, get your money back, get the refund.